Spirituality is the attempt to, or the act of diminishing the vibrational difference between your true self and your personally asserted or assumed self. This is your personally assumed self. This is you with all your definitions, with all your belief systems, all your assumptions, and this will govern your feeling state, at least on the personal mind-body level. This will determine your state of being. So you got to be the vibration of it if you want to perceive it. That's why you can't get there from here. You may have an image of it, but you're in a current state of being, and you can't get there. So why do we have these images? Why do we have these desires? And it's really a mechanism of the higher mind, right? Higher mind is a level of intelligence that supersedes the physical brain. It's what you have access to when you meditate, when you are intuitive, in an intuitive state, when you're in a flow state, when you're in a receiving state. There is a communication, a subliminal communication happening all the time with your higher mind. Higher mind is it's like a manager of this current incarnation. You could see it a little bit like that. It's the manager that's appointed by the higher self to guide you on this journey. It's the one that's on the top of the mountain, and it sees all the pathways up the mountain, the peak of the mountain representing your fullest self-knowledge, your fullest self-expression, the fulfillment of your theme, of your intention for that life. And this manager, if you will, sends you messages all the time, but it needs to honor your free will, because each level has its own level of free will. So it can only really suggest and submit requests and give you hints and nudge you. Right? This is where a lot of our intuition comes from. So there's a communication line happening there, and it communicates again in different ways. One is the things that excite you. It's kind of like trying to lure you in. It's like the dangling carrot in front of your head. Because it knows one way to reach the personal ego, blind as it is give it something that it wants, or promise it something that it wants. So you'll get inspirations and imaginations of having that epic life, or like being an expression of everything is possible, or standing in front of a group of people and helping them transform their lives, or being the best painter in the world, or just having fun at small parties, being a singer, whatever it is. Doesn't have to be big or small. Whatever. The things that you desire are always above where you're currently believing yourself to be. That's why it's such a tricky game, the law of attraction. If it's not understood properly and holistically, it's very tricky. Because if you don't know all this stuff that I've been sharing in the past hour, you will just focus on the thing you want as a physical person, and you'll try to get there from here, and you can't do that, and you'll just frustrate yourself. But if you understand that this is a communication mechanism between higher mind and you, and that none of the things that you think you want is actually what you want. What you want is to fulfill the intention that gave birth to this body. It makes sense, right? Again, it's a means to fulfill a purpose. You're here to use the body as part of a collective to explore and express a certain theme in life. So how can you most effectively do that? Well, it's not by having a lot of negative thoughts about yourself or life in general. It's the crystallization of a unique geometric vibrational pattern. And you can't put that into words. We have no symbols for that in our lower mind, in our physical mind. So the translation of that vibration of the Creator is translated to us as something that we understand that represents that true vibration. And so what this does, this is the dangling carrot. This is what teases you to work on yourself, to explore yourself, to reflect on yourself. How can I get there? Now, of course, now you know you can't get there. You have to become it. You have to download that package. You have to open the package in your imagination, and you have to feel the vibration that that package represents. Okay, so if you want a lot of money, you have to really wonder that that's not why you incarnated. Trust me, it's not worth it. All right? If you have all the money in the world, being incarnate is not worth the effort of going through the birth canal and all that stuff. Forgetting everything about everything that you are, having to find it all over again, 99% probability that you completely get lost and you have no clue who you are until you die. It's not worth being a millionaire or a billionaire. Okay, that's not why you came here, is my point. So it's just from your limited point of view that money excites you. I'm not saying that if money excites you, you have a necessarily super limited point of view. It's not necessarily true. But it excites you, and we have to acknowledge that we have a more limited point of view than the higher mind. Otherwise, we can't go anywhere. We're just arrogant, stubborn, and stuck where we are. So, but I'm assuming you guys have that openness or you wouldn't be here. So being a jazz musician or being a millionaire or something that represents to you an epic life where you feel free, where you feel powerful, where you feel you are loved, where you feel you are making a difference, that's the image translation that your brain can understand so that it has something to aim for, something to gauge itself by, something to know, hey, this represents this reality, and it may look something like what I imagine, but it rarely does exactly. It's always more surprising. But you're downloading a sense of what that higher parallel vibratory reality will feel and look like. That's your image of it. It's communicating to your current sense of self so that you know what you need to match the vibration of in order to, in a way, ascend along the lines of becoming the fullest expression of what you are. Recognize when your visualization turns sour. For some people, that's before it even turns positive. So now you got some work to do, right? You have to find loops. You have to be consistent with finding something that does excite you and visualizing that, seeing that, feeling it, and completely letting it go, and then focusing on something you appreciate in the moment. Getting back into the here and now, but with a vibration of gratitude, appreciation, okayness, well-being. That's the quickest way for you to attract this reality, or rather for yourself to be pulled up into that higher vibratory state of who you are.